Hi guys, my name is Karthik and I'm from executeautomation.com, and this is part 8 of our automated build deploy test with Team Foundation Server 2015 and Selenium video series. And in this part we'll be talking about testing our application and Selenium framework from Team Foundation Server 2015 in a remote machine. So before watching this part, I would request you to watch part 6 and 7, since this part is going to be a continuation of those two parts. Well, this video series is a part of our ALM with Team Foundation Server video series. Alright, so let's get started. So before jumping into testing in a remote machine, first of all, let's understand the concept of our continuous integration. So continuous integration is a development practice that requires developers to integrate code into a shared repository several times a day, which is something you might have encountered most of the time. While continuous integrations, like a lot of tools are available, like Jenkins, Hudson, Team Foundation Server, JIT, all of them are of course available, and how to do that in our local machine and how these things are working. But understanding the concept of continuous integration is kind of important in this video, since what we're going to deal with right now is a kind of continuous integration. It's not even kind of continuous integration, but it's close to continuous integration. So each check-in is then verified by a automated build, allowing team to detect problem early. And you can see that the word automated is bolded, and the reason is that's exactly what we are about to achieve in this video. So automated testing in remote machine is kind of very important. It's a dream for most of the automation test engineers. They want their test to be up and running every time without even triggering them. So they want the automated test to happen automatically instead of just going and manually triggering the automation test every time once the build is ready. So you might have noticed in your companies that there will be a lot of nightly builds running. So every night the application will be automatically built by the continuous integration system, and that will be deployed in a machine, and your test should run on that particular nightly build, and the report of the testing should be sent to the respective team members. In the morning, once you log into a machine, you'll see the report. So that's a dream of most of the people in a automation testing world, and also the developer's dream, while they don't have to see a negative or a red color mark in the report every time after doing a lot of development. So that's exactly what we're going to do this time. So we are going to run automated build after every check-in or while queuing a new build. And for doing that, we need following build tasks to be added in the build definitions. So I'm going to talk about some build task here. Suddenly I'm bringing in a new word here, but the build task are something which we have already discussed while we were discussing in our previous video, like adding command prompts and while trying to copy some of the files from our local machine to a Hyper-V machines. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. So what are the things that we need to do? So these are the build tasks that we need to achieve or add before starting to deploy our test in a remote machine and run the test in a remote machine. So the build tasks are this. The first thing is building our application. Of course, we have to build our application every time once the check-in is done, or maybe you're queuing a new build. So the build application is an important task. And then we need to deploy the application in a remote machine. So we saw these two actions or tasks in our previous videos itself. So these two are kind of very important. Only then we can run the test on them, right? And then we have to copy paste the test project DLLs, and here comes our Selenium automation frameworks testing. So we have to copy all the Selenium's libraries and some of the test adapters. If you're using some custom test adapters, you need to also copy that. And then you have to run or copy the test DLLs, which holds the test method attributes. Those DLLs also has to be copied into the remote Hyper-V machines or remote network machines. So that's the another task. And then we need to install the test agent in the remote machine. So I'm saying test agent here. So without test agent, it won't run. So without test agent, the Team Foundation server will not really understand how to run the test in a remote machine. So this test agent is kind of very important. So before Team Foundation Server 2015 vNext build definitions, there was something called XAML build definition, which we already discussed in our Team Foundation Server build system in a separate playlist of YouTube channel, where we discussed about XAML. But the thing what I'm going to say is, in those kind of situations, you also have to have a test agent and controller setup. So that's kind of very nagging, because there you also have to have your complete test agent installed before you start running the test. But here in our vNext build definition, you don't even have to install the test agent before running this build definition itself. Your build definition task will automatically install the test agent once you define it. So that's kind of very easy thing. So it will run some PowerShell script and installs the test agent in the remote machine, and then it will start the test automatically. So the last step is, of course, you understand what it is. We have to run the test using the test agent which we installed. So these are the build tasks that we need to add in our build definitions. So the build task versus the build steps. So we were talking about the build task in our previous slide, and the build steps is something which we add in our build definitions. So let's compare both of them. So this build application and the deploy application remote machine, remember we did both of them using Visual Studio build task. And similarly, copy and pasting the test project DLL can be done using Windows machine file copy build step. And that's the task that you need to add in your build definition. And similarly, install test agent in remote machine. So that particular build step can be done using Visual Studio test agent deployment task. So you need to add that task in your build definition. Similarly, running test using test agent. So that build step you can perform using Visual Studio test using test agent task. So we need to add these respective tasks in our build definition steps. So that's exactly what we're going to do right now. And before finishing this video slide, the most important thing which we also need to understand is the machine groups. So there is something called machine groups in Team Foundation Server 2015, which you can add all your machines in your network, and then you can group them. So that let's say if you want to run your test in 5 different machines with Chrome, Firefox, and IE in each browser running, then you can group them as a cross-browser machines. Similarly, if you want to run some kind of configurations in a specific group, then you can name that as that machine group name, and then you can group all those machines. So machine groups is kind of very helpful while running your automation test in multiple machine same time parallelly. So that's exactly what we're going to do in this video as well. So in the next video, we will actually talk about a real implementation of all these theoretical steps, whatever we discussed right now. So that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching this video, and have a great day.